All right, let's get started changing our oil on our 89 F250 diesel. This is everything you're gonna need. I take diesel oil, which is a synthetic blend, SAE 15W40. I have a oil filter wrench. I have the oil filter replacement, the Wix fuel filter I always change during my oil change. I have my catch pan, a rag. The bag is for the oil filter. And then I have some injector cleaner as well. And then obviously you need some type of wrench, socket wrench, anything to get the bolt off. First things first, let's take off our cap in the engine bay. If we do this, our oil is going to drain a little bit faster because of the airflow. This is also where we're going to put our new oil after we're done draining our old oil. Second step is crawling under your vehicle and finding your oil pan and your fuel filter. All right, second step, take out the cap from your catch pan so we can get all the oil to drain out from the pan into here. Never change your oil when it's hot, when you just finished running your car. Otherwise, it's gonna drain out too fast. It's gonna not drain quick enough to the pan, and it's gonna overflow. And when you try to stop it, it's gonna burn you. I've learned from experience. Next, get your wrench with your correct socket. Mine is 7/8. Start loosening this thing up. We are going to turn it until it is loose enough for our fingers to undo. Once we get it loose enough with our fingers, with the wrench, we're going to loosen it with our fingers. And we're going to try to take our hand out as fast as possible so we don't get any oil on ourselves. We're going to see how this goes. Oh, a little bit. We weren't quick enough. Put your bolt down. That's why you got the rag. You can also do this with gloves, but I'm a man, so I don't use them. A little oil never hurt anybody. Give a little, tastes good. Now we let that drain out for however long. All right, now that it's just had a drip, we're pretty good to put the bolt back in. We don't need to worry about a little bit of oil in there. It's not a huge deal. You just put that hand tight so no more oil drips out. And we're gonna reposition the pan for the oil filter. This is your oil filter wrench. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. It's kind of hard on mine, harder on other cars to get a good angle. Oh my God. Am I freaking turning this the wrong way or what? Chat, help me out, please. I don't think I am. No, it's coming. Oh yeah. Okay. Reposition, get this nice in the middle. We're just gonna loosen it enough so that the oil starts draining out from it. All right, now that everything's drained out for the most part, this is why we have the bag, because we're gonna unscrew this and then we're gonna drain out the rest of the oil, flip it over onto the pan. And that's why the pan has those little grooves on it, so that you can set it there and it won't stop draining. It'll have room for the oil to drain out. You'll get that all drained out, and then you're gonna put it inside the bag. Like you're picking up dog poop, grab it, flip it inside out, and then your outside of your bag is all clean. That way, when you take it to O'Reilly's, they're not gonna have to touch it, deal with it. They can stay clean. All right, now that everything's drained out, move the oil pan. Put your lid back on if you want. It doesn't matter right now. Move your oil pan out. And we can get started putting this back on and our oil filter. Now we're not gonna crank this thing. We're not gonna crank it. We're gonna make it tight, but not so tight that it's just destroying the threads. That's also why you don't want drips, because if you get drips, and it drips on you. God damn it. God damn it, Bobby. Where the hell did that drip come from? Oh well. Let's get this thing tight. If you don't want to get dirty, don't do your own oil changes. But this is saving me a lot of money. Okay. We're starting to get her tight. So I usually over crank stuff. You don't want to do that. Okay. We're going to leave it there. Let's get our oil filter back on. All right, you guys are not going to be able to see me screwing it back on unless I do it one-handed. So this is the oil filter. You always get a little bit of oil on your finger. And you give it a little rub on the seal of the oil filter, just like this. Just right there, right on the seal. It'll help seal it up real tight so you have no leaks. I'm gonna try to do this one-handed so you guys can see. We're right here, and we're just screwing this bad boy back in, if we can one-handed. Ooh, I think we got it. Never mind. A lot harder than you think doing it one-handed. I'm trying to thread it in left so you can get it easier going right. Oh. I think we got it, baby. Yep, we got it. All right. Shooting that in with your hand. You're supposed to just do these hand tight, which is about right there. But I don't do that because I'm not going to have it come off on the freeway. And then all my oil drips out, and then I destroy my engine. So we're back with the oil filter wrench. Put that back on. Give it a good crank. You don't want to go crazy with it because you can also strip out these threads. But you want to just put it tight enough to where you're like, oh, that's kind of hard. That's good right there. Oil filter's back on. All right. I forgot to mention you're gonna need, what is it called? Freaking something to pour your oil into so you can pour it into your reservoir. So open up our oil, pop off the seal, and you hope that your bolt is tight enough. I do not remember how much oil my truck takes because I change my oil every 10,000 miles, and I honestly just forget how much it is every single time. So we're going to pour one of these full. It drains very slow because this is very thick oil. It's going to take a while. I might get a bigger funnel, to be honest. All right, I went and got a water bottle because I couldn't find my bigger funnel. This will work just fine. Whatever you guys have laying around, it doesn't really matter as long as it's going into the reservoir. This is draining super fast because it's such a bigger hole. So we're going to pop one of these in here. We're almost done with the first one. I usually don't let these sit over on themselves and just drain all from top to bottom. I mean, I'm happy with it when it starts dripping, you know. I don't need to get every single drop of oil out of here. All right, we got our number 2 of oil. Pop the cap off. Pop the seal off. Let's get to pouring. Woo, Michael Jordan. Dang, we're good. I'm only going to pour about half of this one just because, like I said, I don't remember how much oil it actually takes. So I'm going to pour about half of this one, and then we're going to check our fluid level. Wait a couple minutes, check our fluid level with the dipstick, and see where we're at. So that's about, yeah, these are 4 quarts. So I poured almost another 2 quarts in it. These are 1 gallon each. So we're going to wait a couple minutes, and then we're going to get our dipstick and check how much oil we have. With diesels, It does not matter how clean your oil is. As soon as I put this brand new oil in, you saw it going in, it's more like a goldish color. It's going to be black immediately. Immediately, as soon as I check that dipstick, it's gonna be black. So don't worry about that. If you have a newer diesel, maybe then it won't be black immediately, but I doubt it. And if you have a gas car, then your oil should be clean like the color of this when you go and check your dipstick. But if you have a diesel, dirty, always dirty. All right, your dipstick, we're gonna check the oil. I'm pretty sure it's low because if I remember correctly, it takes over 2 gallons. This is your dipstick right here, or at least mine is. Mine's colored. Pull that thing out. Super low, so we gotta add way more oil. I always double dip just to make sure that I am correct. But yes, very low. We're gonna add the rest of that 2 gallon, and we're probably gonna need another ½ gallon. All right, it's been a couple minutes, so we're gonna check our oil. I added 2 gallons and a little over a half of another gallon. It's a little over, which is fine with me. Let's see, it says, it's hard to see in the dark, but that's how you see where your oil is at. Right here on the end, it says do not overfill, and I am just a hair past that. I'm not very far past it, so I'm not worried about it because this thing will just eat the oil. Anybody who owns an old car knows old cars eat oil. While I was waiting for that to drain into the reservoir, I already got the fuel filter off and got the new one with the rubber seal on it. This is your water, basically your drain. You unscrew it so that if there's any water in there, it drips out. It's a water fuel separator for your car. And we're just gonna screw that back on. They say you're supposed to prime it with diesel in it already, but I don't, because I'm not gonna go get some diesel and prime it, so I don't. I usually mark my fuel filter when I changed it, or you can mark it in your phone on your notes, whatever you want, but you want to know how long you've had your fuel filter. That's also supposed to be hand tight, but I don't listen to that, so we're gonna give it a little bit of a crank with the oil filter wrench. You don't want to crank this either. Hand tight would work, but I just never do hand tight. Now, all right, we're done with our oil change. We got to put everything away. Put your cap back on. Clean it up a little bit. Put that cap back on. Nice and tight. Take number 2. Nice and tight. Get that cap back on. Do not want this coming off. There you go. Now, clean up your tools. My socket, it's all full of oil. Get that nice and clean. Clean up the socket wrench. No more oil on these boys. Put everything away, and next I'll show you what to do with the oil. The audio messed up right here, so it didn't record, but basically right here we're just going to get our oil filter inside the bags. This is what we brought that little baby one for. We're gonna do it just like we're picking up dog poop. You're gonna grab the oil filter, put it inside, flip it inside out so the outside is nice and clean. And we are going to double bag it just so the people at O'Reilly's don't have to deal with super dirty oil on their hands. We are going to tie up our oil filter because we don't want it coming out on the drive to O'Reilly's. And we're just going to push in our pan and we're ready to head over. They take your oil for free and dispose of it as well as your oil filter. All right. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. I just want to give you a quick rundown of the prices. The oil was $21.99 each per gallon. I had more oil at my house and I needed 2.5 gallons. So that would have been $64 for the oil just for itself. The oil filter was $5.99 and the fuel filter was $33.01. So that comes out to, what was that, $7,800, around $105 for total, which I change my oil every 10,000 miles and the fuel filter as well. So if I went to a shop, this would have cost me at least $100 in materials, and then another 60 or 70 for labor. So I would have been getting close to $200 when I just changed my own oil for $100, just materials and the fuel filter. Took me about 15 minutes. Then I go to O'Reilly's, they dump it for me for free. So you can save a lot of money doing this yourself, especially if you guys have smaller cars that you need to change your oil every 3,000 miles.